Hello students, I'm back with another video of chapter 2 Nutrition in Animals. By now we have seen that the human digestive system is also known as alimentary canal or gut. It starts with mouth and it ends at anus. It is a complex set of many organs which are involved in ingestion of food. It is involved in the ingestion of food, the mechanical breakdown of food, the propulsion of food, the chemical digestion of the food, absorption of the food, and finally the elimination of the undigested waste from the body. So, this is the main role of the digestive system. By far, we have seen many organs of the digestive system. We have seen mouth, we have seen esophagus, we also have studied about the stomach. Today in this video, we are going to study about the intestine. So let us deal with the intestines. So first of all, there are two sets of intestine, that is the small intestine and the large intestine. The length of the small intestine is 7 meters, while the length of the large intestine is 1.5 meters. So they are not named based on their length, but they are named based on their diameters. The diameter of the large intestine is more than that of the small intestine. So now let us study about the different parts of the large and the small intestine. First of all, talking of the parts of the small intestine. So the small intestine can be divided into duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, while the large intestine can be divided basically into two parts, that is the cecum and the colon. In the picture also you can see that the small and the large intestine can be divided into different parts. Here you can see the structure of the small intestine first of all. So the first part is the duodenum, second one is the jejunum, and the last part of the small intestine is the ileum. Here in this second diagram, you can see that the large intestine also has been divided into two parts. You can see it is colon and the cecum. So let us proceed and study about the two intestines one by one. So first of all, talking of the small intestine. So it is a tubular organ that extends from the pyloric sphincter to the large intestine. We have seen that the pyloric sphincter opens and the food now proceeds to the next part of the small intestine, that is the it leads to the duodenum. So the most active region for both digestion and absorption is the small intestine only. So as I have already told you that the complete digestion of the food as well as the absorption of the food will take place in the small intestine only. So the small intestine is further divided into three parts: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. The duodenum is the proximal most portion of and receives secretions from both pancreas and liver. The jejunum is usually larger in diameter than the ileum and more vascular, whereas the ileum is the distal portion of this organ and is usually less active than the jejunum. So this is about the different parts of the small intestine. Now, what is the function of the small intestine? The function of the small intestine is to complete the process of digestion. So that is the complete digestion takes place in the small intestine only. That is the food will be digested completely in the small intestine. Now, as the food will be digested completely, the absorption of the digested food into the bloodstream will also take place in the small intestine only. So, the main role of the small intestine is to digest the food completely as well as to absorb the digested food. So, here this digestion will take place and the digested products will then move on to the bloodstream so that the blood can supply it to all the parts of the body. Now let us discuss about the parts of the small intestine one by one. So dealing with the first part. So first of all we have duodenum. So duodenum is a U-shaped structure. It is the first part of the small intestine and most of the digestion will take place in the duodenum only, and this part is about 25 centimeters long. So here you can see this is the small red part which is U-shaped and most of the digestion process will take place in the duodenum only. Now, let us see that what are the different secretions that the duodenum will receive. So, the duodenum will receive secretions from two accessory glands also, that is it will receive the secretions from the liver as well as from the pancreas. Liver secretes bile, whereas pancreas secrete the pancreatic juice, As the liver secretes bile, the bile is then stored in the gallbladder. This gallbladder will then send the bile to the duodenum. So now let us proceed. Let us talk about the organ liver little bit in detail. So now let us talk about the liver. So this is the liver. So this is, of course, the liver is the largest gland in our body. So the bile is made in the liver. This is the liver. The bile will then flow into the gallbladder where it will be stored. Okay. Then pancreas will also secrete the pancreatic juice. This pancreatic juice and the bile that is stored in the gallbladder will flow into the duodenum through a common duct. You can see this is the common duct here. This is the duodenum. So the pancreatic juice as well as the bile will come to the duodenum through a common duct. So this is being told over here. That is, bile is made in the liver, but it is stored in the gallbladder. Let's move on. Now let us study a little bit about the liver and the bile. So bile has no enzymes. Okay, the bile juice that we are talking of has no enzymes. It consists of water, sodium chloride, bile salts and bile pigments. The pH of this bile is 8. What are the functions of bile then? Bile contains, it dilutes contents from stomach. It also creates pH for pancreatic enzymes to work in duodenum. It contains bile salts which emulsify fats. What is the function of bile then? It is the emulsification of fats. That is, it breaks the bigger fat droplets into smaller fat droplets. So here you can see these are the bigger fat droplets which will be emulsified into smaller fat droplets. Now again you can see what is the role of the bile. Bile salts emulsifies fats, that is it breaks large fat globules into smaller globules. What is the benefit of emulsification then? The surface area where lipase can act is increased. That is, when lipase will act on this, so the surface area on which the lipase will act in this case is lesser. Whereas when this bigger fat globule will be broken down into smaller ones, so the surface area for the action of the lipase will increase in this case. So this is the role of the emulsification of fats. That is, the surface area for the action of lipase enzyme increases. Now, if a person had his gallbladder removed, so why will a doctor tell him to limit the fats in the diet? Because gallbladder is only involved in this in the secretion, or sorry, not the secretion but the storage of bile, which is then helping in the breakdown of the larger fat globules into smaller, which can then be digested. So fats cannot be emulsified, or it will be difficult to digest fats by lipase if the gallbladder has any problem or if the gallbladder has been removed. So students, this is all for this video. Thank you so much for your attention and keep watching the videos with full attention. Thank you so much, students.